One of the last videos that I made at the end of the year of 2021 was about the Dallas Mavericks and how that team was showing a consistent pattern of incompetence from a front office perspective, and how that pattern was going to be a big problem if it was going to stick around long term. And that addressing that pattern and getting on top of it, getting it fixed, was going to be needed to be done sooner rather than later for the sake of keeping Luka Doncic happy. Otherwise, he'd be gone sooner than you think. The "we have time" argument, because he just signed a 5-year contract, is a slippery slope, and you're eventually going to reach the point where you don't have time anymore, and odds are you're not going to be ready. So, I ended that video saying that the Dallas Mavericks needed to get their shit together. They didn't do that. Let's talk about it. Before I continue on with this video, there is about a 50% chance that if you are watching this right now, you are not subscribed to this channel. So if you fall into that latter 50% and you enjoy this video, then please subscribe. Also drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second and it makes a massive difference in how it performs in the YouTube algorithm. Also, 2 things to shout out. One, on the off chance you're a fan of the podcast, that's going to be returning real soon with a rebrand and a relaunch and all that kind of stuff. So if you're not subscribed to the podcast channel, go do that. And if you've been a fan of that in the past, it's coming back. And 2, a deep dive is coming out this Friday. It is about loyalty and what that really means in the NBA. So stick around for that and check it out when it comes out on Friday. I really need those videos to be clicked on as soon as you see them, because it helps it perform really well on YouTube, and those videos take a ton of effort, so I want them to perform really well. But with that said, let's get into it. The Dallas Mavericks made the most head-scratching move of the deadline by a country mile, and that is saying a lot, being how many confusing trades actually happened this deadline. Kristaps Porzingis to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer, who due to injury has been awful since coming back, and the only time he's looked good is when he's been away from Bradley Beal, aka he's only good as the primary ball handler, which that's never going to happen with Luka Doncic. Maybe a few possessions here or there, but that's about it, not to mention Jalen Brunson. And then of course Davis Bertans, who, to be frank, I think has been a bit underrated. A lot of people are acting like his shooting coming around is like completely out of the question when he's only played like 30 something games this year, 15 minutes per game. When he's been playing 15 minutes a game, and it's been over just 34 games this year, when in the first 331 games of his career, he shot 40% from 3 on 5 attempts. Clearly, it's just been a bad stretch with inconsistent opportunity and inconsistent rhythm, and I don't think it's out of the question that Davis is a really good three-point shooter again. That said, he's still massively overpaid for what he brings to the table. His shot going in would go from him being a bad player to a mid player, and a mid player still ain't worth $16 million a year over the next like 5 seasons. And at best, Spencer Dinwiddie also ends up being a mid-ass player who is overpaid as well. So in exchange for your second, maybe third best player, depending on how you feel about Jalen Brunson, you got back 2 very mediocre players who are overpaid, one of which doesn't really fit your roster, and actually one of them, their contract goes on longer than Kristaps Porzingis's. It doesn't make any fucking sense. As I said in my video grading every trade deadline move, there are 3 goals that you can seek to accomplish in a trade. You don't have to get all 3, in fact rarely you do, but you at least need to achieve one of them in order for your trade to have any kind of reason behind it, for it to make any kind of sense. If you don't achieve one of the 3, your trade is stupid, inherently. Those 3 goals are: you upgrade your talent currently, you upgrade your future, or you create cap space. You either get better now, you get the assets to be better in the future, or you create cap space to potentially sign pieces in the offseason. This move did not make the team better. Kristaps Porzingis is better than the contributions of both Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. You did not build for the future. Dinwiddie is 28, Davis is 29, and Porzingis is 26. So you actually got older, and you traded your own second round pick, so it's not like you got draft capital, you lost it. And last but not least, Spencer and Davis's contract combined equal as much money per year as Porzingis, and then Davis's contract goes on for an extra year, so that's like an extra $18 million in salary. So you put more money on your books, not less. So you're 0 for 3 on the reasons that you make a trade. And that's not even to say that if you accomplish one of those things, it's automatically a good trade, because that's not the case. Tyrese Halliburton for Sabonis technically achieved the first goal, making the team better in the present moment. It's still a bad trade, but hey, it did accomplish something positive, which is more than the Mavericks can say with this deal. The Norman Powell trade was an absolute joke, but at least the Portland Trail Blazers created like $18 million in cap space. They did do something. Every other bad move of this trade deadline at least accomplished something, even if they shouldn't have necessarily given up what they did to accomplish what they did, or they shouldn't have sought to accomplish what they accomplished. At the very least, something was accomplished. In this case, the move was completely absent-minded. And just add this to the laundry list of poor to mediocre decision-making that has been from this front office ever since Luka has been a member of this team. Ironically, almost all of their worst decisions have involved Kristaps Porzingis, so they really just know how to miss it when it comes to him. So going forward, the ice that Dallas's front office is treading on is thinner than it has ever been, and it only seems like it's going to get thinner. The concerns for Luka's future there and him staying there long term have only grown more severe. The possibility of having ruined your opportunity at a generational talent becomes ever more present. Luka Doncic is about to be 23 years old. I would know because he's one day less than 1 year older than me. And I'm about to be 22. After this year, he's going to be done with his rookie deal, which means he's going to be going on to his extension, and based on the pattern we see with players asking for trades, typically happens when they have around 2 years left on their contract, if not even less than that. So the possibility that Luka Doncic forces his way out of town by 3 seasons after this one is extraordinarily high. 3 seasons doesn't really seem like that much time, does it? When you really think about it, I mean, it feels like Luka was a rookie yesterday and we're already in year 4 with him. So you don't have a whole lot of time here. And being that this roster has not improved one way or the other since Luka's second season, as once again they look to finish somewhere between 5 and 7 in the Western Conference, the hope that Luka is going to stick around there for his entire career is basically non-existent unless they do something. This was just another completely unnecessary strike, and if they continue this pattern, he's going to be gone real quick. Unless, of course, they did this move at the request of Luka Doncic, in which case I can't necessarily fault it. Even then, sometimes what the player wants is not for their betterment, and he might realize that years later and it still comes off as a mistake. But to that extent, I would kind of understand it. But either way, this Mavericks team needs to improve real fast. This is getting ridiculous. This offseason, I don't even know how they're going to do it. But they need to do some drastic shit because they cannot continue to just be this mediocre ass team, because I don't think Luka is going to accept that further than another season or 2. And that's really all the time that you have. So get it together. If I was a Mavericks fan, I would be extraordinarily concerned. It's ridiculous. Anyways, shout out to Rudy for editing this video. That is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and cue the outro music.